Hello, I'm Dee Blake, and I'm a volunteer with the League of Women Voters. I'm here today at the MetroEast Community Media in Gresham. We are doing our 2016 voter video guide. With me today is Eric Zimmerman.
Hi.
Good morning. Eric, is it okay if I call you Eric?
Of course.
Okay, great. You are seeking the open seat for Multnomah County Commissioner, District 1. And I want to just ask you, just to start out, a little bit about your background.
Sure.
You're probably new to most of the voters in the county. And if you could tell us, a little bit about yourself and why you sought this office.
Sure. I've been in public service my entire adult life. It actually started during college, and then thereafter I was an officer in the Army and commanded soldiers during the Iraq War. When I came back from Iraq, I still today wear the uniform as a National Guardsman part-time, but I worked at Multnomah County, and I still work at Multnomah County today. And I got my start in really helping veterans navigate the county system. That meant employment help, that meant healthcare access, that meant working with human resources and others who were trying to find a way to attract returning veterans. And I started a group for returning veterans at the county, and that propelled me then to eventually work for Commissioner Diane McKeel, who represents East Multnomah County. And today I serve as her chief of staff at the county, and I have for most of her second term. I have sought this office because, one, I certainly see the impact that the county can have on the stability of families in this community, and I think I have the right experience, having worked in individual issues and veterans issues related to military families and individuals, but also now a broad breadth of experience having worked as a chief of staff for County Commissioner Diane McKeel. I think I have the best understanding out of the candidates in this race to really know everything that this next board is going to have to tackle.
Okay. Well, given your work with veterans, I'd like to turn to a question in terms of the county and dealing with issues of homelessness more effectively. I imagine
Certainly.
That's something you've had to deal with.
My top priority in this campaign and in this election for the board next year is to change the status quo, which is not to shelter every single person on our streets in Multnomah County. And I think that we can. I think that we should shelter every single person who's sleeping on a street or in a campsite tonight. They can be sheltered in a very short order if the county changes its current policies, invests in new and larger shelters. And right now, I think that we are not serving the public by having a policy and a funding mechanism that says we will not shelter everyone.
Okay. Are you familiar with the Home for Everyone plan? And if so, can you evaluate for us what you think the effectiveness of that plan is?
I think that the Home for Everyone plan is a good plan that is on the right path, where we've brought agencies, multiple governments together to combat homelessness overall. And in that, we've talked about affordable housing, we talk about wages, we talk about shelter. And the City of Portland and Multnomah County, as of July, entered into something called the Joint Office on Homelessness. And what that really has done is allowed us to say the City of Portland should focus on infrastructure, new units, new homes, availability and affordability, while the county takes on the lion's share of the service model and of sheltering. And that's why I get back to, I certainly think that we need to pass the housing bond that's on the market. I certainly think we need to do everything we can to increase the availability of affordable units, so that the work that we're doing at the county, which is sheltering people, is work that is worthwhile, and that our social workers have a way and somewhere to eventually transition people toward housing. Everything that we battle that keeps someone homeless is a lot harder to work toward stability and find a path toward stability when they aren't even sheltered, let alone housed, right? It's a continuum, and I think that we have to start in the sheltering and move toward the affordability. A Home for Everyone will be better if we can increase the shelter goals that they have.
Okay, all right. As you know, Multnomah County is experiencing quite a bit of population growth, and is expected to do so for a while.
Yeah.
What can be done to ensure the county is able to continue to provide community services? Now, you've dealt with some of that with the
Yes,
homelessness,
yes.
and yes.
I think one of the really important things here, and I have this experience from having worked for the District 4 and Commissioner McKeel, who represents more of East Multnomah County, is not only are we growing, but our populations who use county services are shifting and moving. It's not just the downtown core area, which is where I'm running to represent, and as well as a lot of other parts of West Portland. But it's important that we recognize that services are far less accessible when someone has to commute across the entire metro area to get there. So I think, we're very close to the East Multnomah building here in this studio, and if we continue to put services where neighborhoods need them, I think we'll do better. I also believe very heavily in expanding our school-based health centers. I think the ability to have every kid in a family at their school linked into the things that help keep kids in the classroom, mental health care, behavioral health care, physical health care, and dental health care. Those are the big challenges for a lot of families. If we can help solve that and increase those services, I think we'll do better as we grow in population, and it won't be just focused in one city or the other. We're a county of many, many cities, and sometimes we forget that. We've got to look at the county from one end to the next.
Okay. I know one of your areas of concern is the criminal justice system here in Multnomah County.
Certainly.
Can you talk about your concerns there?
I have real concerns that depending on the color of your skin, you will be treated differently when you enter into our criminal justice system. Not to mention the fact that depending on the color of your skin, it's more likely that you will enter into, just even start with. And what we know is that every level throughout the system, the disparities grow. What I really want to look at, and I've been endorsed by our corrections deputies who administer our jails, they want to fix the disparities that we see when it comes to use of force when you're in our jails. It's one thing to find a way when we're on the streets and our law enforcement are on the streets to find a way to make sure that we are treating everyone equally, but also when you do find yourself in the county system, I don't want people being treated differently based on the color of their skin. And I think we have the right people at the table. I think that we need to bring I think that's a table we expand, right, to continue to bring more voices and figure out what kind of trainings, what kind of policies, what kind of changes do we need to make in our criminal justice system where the county is involved to make sure that we aren't prosecuting, hurting, or putting someone on a path that is really going to be destructive in the long term. Our DA is working on new projects right now to reduce how we charge some drug offenses from felonies to minors. Our Department of Community Justice is working on using alternatives to jail for some of their sanctioning. That's a huge impact that can have on a person who, if they make a mistake, going to a jail or having some alternative that they can work through and still, go home at night, provide for their family, continue to work. That's really an important step that we need to be taking.
Okay. Probably just time for one more question. Sure. We'll see. Turning to the Sellwood project, the Sellwood Bridge project, what do you believe are the lessons that we've learned in the county from that, and how can they be applied to other
sometimes
projects?
I think lessons learned can be, what did you do well? And I think I think the Sellwood Bridge, we're over 95% complete on that. It's almost done, and it will be done just in time. Yesterday we broke ground on the new central courthouse in downtown Portland, and we'll be breaking ground on a new health department headquarters, and soon after that we'll be looking at expanding a new public safety facility. So the county has for a long time put off some capital projects. The Sellwood Bridge, we learned a lot about the best way to spend public money to make sure that it is going back to workers, that it's local workers, that apprenticeship goals are met, that we're finding a way to get to journey status for men and women. Contractors and those who are building big projects today are competing for workers. So from the Sellwood Bridge, we've set some aspirational goals of 20% on the courthouse, right, for women in apprenticeships. I think that's a great goal. I think that's important because the more effective that those apprenticeships are, and we've learned some stuff in the Sellwood Bridge about some apprenticeships can be less effective than others, so making sure that we are really getting our money's worth and moving people toward journey status, that's a family wage job. And
Okay.
every family wage job that we have is one less family that has to fall into that county social safety net.
Well, I think we'll end on that.
Okay.
We're out of time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you for watching. Again, this has been the League of Women Voters 2016 Voter Election Guide. Please remember to vote November 8th and register if you haven't already by October 18th. Thank you. Thank you.